Welcome back, fellow Blues fans, to the Free Blue Boys podcast. Thank you to all our viewers and listeners for joining us again. Of course, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like if you enjoyed today's video, and hit the bell notification button so you never miss a new upload from the Free Blue Boys podcast. Please also consider following us on our social media platforms, links to which are on screen for now and down in the description below. And what an episode we've got for you today. It's the first in a new instalment of podcasts called Who Are You?, where we invite a fellow Bluesnose podcaster onto the channel to get to know them a little bit more on a personal level and their experiences of journeying for the joys and sorrows. Our first guest, and rather guinea pig for this particular episode of podcast, somebody our viewers and listeners will already be familiar with, as he's amassed nearly 4,500 subscribers on his own channel. It is, of course, the boy in blue, Jay. How are we doing, brother?
I'm all right, thank you, lads. Thanks for having me on.
Welcome back. Pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me on. It's the first time I've ever done this, and it's a proper setup. It's totally different to what I'm used to.
It's all bullshit, mate. Really, this is just for you today. Back of a fag packet.
Because it's not only a special day. It's usually like a 3 Blue Boys podcast, but it's 4.
It is indeed.
It took me 33 years to find your dad.
This is it. You broke the news finally.
Love you really, Dad.
I love that. I like it. Yeah. Well, you better come with us on Father's Day then, mate. To be honest, I'll book an extra seat. That's the way to start, isn't it? That's exactly what we wanted.
Yeah. Brilliant.
You can come back again, you can.
That's it, yeah.
It's all right, we don't really mean it, mate. It's okay.
Oh. Glad to have some enjoyment now, because the football's been a bit dross in it.
Well, that's it.
It has really. You've got to take the joys very much with the sorrows, ain't you? So I suppose really to kick us off, Jay. I mean, I suppose on the note, really, give us an idea for what it was like, growing up as a Bluesnose, particularly in the Black Country like yourself, and being from over Stourbridge Way. What was it like for you?
Well, I was fortunate enough because my childhood was like the best. So I was playing football from the age of 8 years old.
Yeah.
Till in my teens, but it was when we had the glory days, so we was in the Premier League for a good few years.
Steve Bruce days, wasn't it, back then?
Rocking up to all my school football teams, and my football team, training sessions, had my blues tops on, the Diodora stuff, and we had Robbie Savage, and so that was my childhood. That was my prime, playing football. So I was spoiled as a kid, and then my sorrows come later on.
I've never
that's
ended.
Pretty much it, really.
One without the other.
I was just blessed that it was that point in my time in my life, because that was just epic as a kid to see us, because we had a couple of attempts, didn't we, before that as well, and we was just kind of missing out as well, Trevor Francis and stuff, and then we had Brucey come and that was the start of my childhood, in terms of playing football, and it was just brilliant, just going to school and that, and just wearing it with pride, and he was just brilliant.
There's nothing like
that.
There's nothing like it. Being a young lad, it's the same for us as well, wasn't it, Dan? And
it was definitely.
You, Dad, I'm the same as you, Jay. Growing up, the Diodora shirts, the Savage, the Heskey, the Facade.
Oh, mate.
Going to school, and like you say, I was a bit of a later comer. Obviously, I'm a little bit younger, but even me going to school, it reminds me of the Total 90 days.
Yeah.
And all the lads used to wear those boots and stuff. And but as you say, we were met with the sorrows a little bit later on. When we decided to all actually go consistently. It's an absolute bag of shite, isn't it? Really. So
Draw you in. This is what I do, isn't it? I draw you in with a bit of carnival. This is great, isn't it? Just fuck you up going forward, really. But you should know better. Really, your dad should have warned you about the Trevor Francis stuff.
Well, it was when he dropped the bombshell. He put his arm around me. He said, "I've had 20 years of shit before this period, so you've got more to come."
You should have heeded it, mate. Really, but we're all in it together, though. Really.
I wouldn't change it for the world. And even doing this, the Bluesnoses, mate. I always say, it's before the football, because they don't salt the earth, and we still manage to have a laugh despite the football and that. Do you know what I mean? There's always finding ways to
definitely
try and have a bit of a laugh and that. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because if you don't, you can go downhill pretty quick, can't you? Watching blues, really. It's not an easy turn to follow, is it? Really? Nah. Oh, okay. So early days and stuff but it sounds like it was your dad was the big influence.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you can tell from my accent, I'm a bit of a mongrel. I've got all sorts in me. Was on about it off camera, Italian, bit of dingle, a bit of brummy, So there's a lot of stuff muddled in there. But I've always followed my dad. He's my hero, he's my best mate, and I've always followed him through and through. You met my mum, moved to the Black Country, and like I said, as a kid, it weren't that hard being a Bluesnose, because it was when we was in the Premier League. So in terms of being a Blues fan, then it was more like prouder, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I know. Yeah, and
you
the
know
thing
what I
is, if you want to go in and support any team, you want to go in at a good level, don't you? Like, you don't want it to be kind of, following a team from, league. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but League Two upwards and stuff, you know. Yeah. But I'm right in saying that he came from Sutton, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, well, you met him, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
Went and sat with him and stuff.
Lovely bloke. Yeah, really, we had a good chat.
Actually.
Yeah. No, it was. It's hard for somebody coming up. My brother, as the lads know, he lived in North Birmingham for a long time, King Standing and stuff. And it's hard being over there and it being a Blues fan, like, So all credit to him, really, like, for sticking to it. Is that from his family as well? Did they?
No, they was like Villa and stuff like he. And correct me if I'm wrong, Dad, like in the comments, but I'm sure that some of them are Liverpool as well. And he just. I think his early years, he was a Liverpool fan, like probably like 5 or 6, and then he just like kind of like swayed to Blues, and he's always been a Blue now since then. Like, so he's had like 50 odd years of supporting Blues, and then I've just followed on from.
I know the suffering, mate. I know the suffering. I can recognise it.
I think that's pretty normal, isn't it? Just on the back of that is like, because obviously we followed the old man and you followed your old man, Dad. So it's pretty normal, isn't it? That obviously, for the most part in your local team, you support them. You mentioned there, Jay, about playing. Did you play at a good level, or was it like a bit of a kickabout type thing?
No, it was just typical Sunday league football there.
Got it,
yeah. Like, it weren't like semi-pro or anything like that. It was like the school teams and like the Sunday league football and that really. And that was it. But he was just turning up like in front of the lads, and I got all my Blues stuff on, like, I remember one of the times I had the red Deodora away kit, and I love that kit. Mario Malchiot and stuff and all that. And like I love that like kit, like, and it was one of my favourite kits that was to rock up and play football with.
There's nothing like it, is it, as a kid? Like, we were the same when we were Sunday league. Yeah. I played like obviously with the school myself, and we ran our own team, didn't we? Dad was manager, and this is when I was, I think I was 12, 13 when we started it. Last year, the man behind the camera was a coach as well as Dan. So like we grew up in it ourselves, the same as you. And there's nothing like that growing up, playing football with your mates and your family. And you mentioned there, obviously, with the Blues fans and the community, there's nothing like that. You put all that together and forget about the football, being together on a match day at 3 o'clock or Monday night at 8. There's nothing like it, is that? It's quality.
Yeah, good stuff. Do you remember your first game though, mate? Can you remember that? Can you remember kind of going up those steps and seeing the pitch and being like, fucking hell, what's this?
The only thing I can remember, and it was the same time, it was when we had Ricky Otto playing for us. I was only 3 years old, and I can't remember who it was against, like my dad will remember, but like he was playing for us. And it was when the old McDonald's at the Island, it was it the Watering Hole, was it?
That's it, mate. Yeah.
So that was the old Watering Hole pub. Yeah. We used to go in there like when I was a kid, and I remember like, because it's your first game, you don't know what's going on and stuff, and like all the fans are getting all like, into the game, and like all the blue noses and that, and the atmosphere is like picking up, and then like I think the ref had made like a real bad decision, like, and all the Blues fans going like, the ref's a wanker and all this, like, and like it all went quiet, and I stood up on the seat, and I went, the ref's a wanker. Like, my dad looked at me like there was like about like hundreds of blue noses just turned around, like they're all sitting down, I'm standing up on my seat like that, like, and he took me up. His best mate who he gets to the Blues with now, like he took me up the stairs, like, give me a right bollocking at half time, like, telling me off, like, so that was one of my first memories.
Oh, that's story. We've had a little one of those on our own, actually.
We have actually, to be fair.
Do you want to relate that one, Dan?
Yeah, so it was back in, I think it was the 2003-2004 season. It was that prime Bruce period where I think we finished in the top 10. Yeah. And it was the first season, I think we were sponsored by Flybe as well. Yeah. And we had a really good team at that time. So, and it was my era at the time, because I played as a goalkeeper. It's, I suppose, unsurprising, given me height in some ways. And I went on to coach goalkeepers as well with the team, Joe, aforementioned as well. But somebody had stuck the boot in with Mike Taylor, and I was only a kid at this time, sort of thing. I think I was only sort of secondary school. My dad didn't really expect this, but he put the boot in, and I stood up. I was like, "You bastard!" And my dad turned around, and he's like, "Daniel!" Straight away, it was just that was it. Yeah,
it's one of them. Who's doing that?
Sort of thing, like. And then, these days it's just next level stuff, isn't it? Really, honestly. I mean, you're pretty subdued most times. Actually, to be fair, you are, and then you change up a gear when we go to Blues. You're actually worse than me most of the time.
I am. Yeah, I've become the worst, definitely, out of the three of us. It's just like, I think on a fellow podcasters, on some of the vlogs as well, sometimes I look down and I'm like, who's that weird geezer just leaning over the cop, and like, it's me. Every single time. Everyone else is sat
You see it all the time, don't you, on the Blues content all the time. We've seen ourselves a couple of times, haven't we?
We have, so I look back at him like, fucking hell, what am I doing there? But then I'll go there again next Saturday and I'll be like, fuck it, ref! So,
We've got ourselves a few times.
Do you give it plenty of verbal, Jay?
Oh, yeah. Like, end of the day, like, it's passion, you know. You want the best for your team, and for some reason in this league, we always get like the worst decisions go against us. Like every time, like League One, like I know it was hard to take, but that season for me to experience it, like, and to actually remember it, because when we was in the old Division 3 last time, like, I was like too young. It was probably around that time when it was Ricky Otto and all that, like, you know. So I couldn't really remember like the Barry Fridays, but going down, it was like a weird one, because obviously we beat Norwich, and then going away like in the League One games, like honestly it was brilliant, and it was just record-breaking season as well, and like I just made like so many memories, and like just meeting people doing this, you know, and it's memories that'll last a lifetime, and friends you meet, and how brilliant, like. Yeah,
and you don't get to see a season like that all
no,
time.
That's what I mean, like,
and I know you can say it's at that level and stuff, but nonetheless, I mean, we went to not loads of away games, but enough. We were at Peterborough when they got promoted, and I'm nearly 60, and I'll remember it forever.
Yeah, it was a great day.
But just going back to the decisions and stuff, like when we went down to League One, we had a lot of decisions in favour for Blues, and it was nice to see for once, because of all the years we've had, like the EFL have got, I think, got it out for Blues. Like in the Championship, like, you know, we have a lot of decisions go against us, and it was just nice to go down and like experience that, going all the way to all the smaller grounds, getting all the referee decisions for us, and that was just a brilliant season, like, you know, and one of my favourites, really.
What was your favourite away though last season, Joe?
Probably say,
you've not done before, or?
Probably say Bristol Rovers, because like we was like, where the away? We was asking like the stewards where the away fans was. He says he was standing on it. He was on a curb, like a tarmac curb, and that's where we stood. Like for the people weren't no seats. So
that's fantastic.
Taxi, like, it's just mad, like just standing on like a tarmac curb. That's where the
2-1 wasn't it that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
that was the game where I thought we were going to struggle to get past them. I think that they'd started well, and they did. I think we ramped it up a little bit towards the end, but that would have been a good away day, though.
Yeah, it's just funny, like, you know, it's going to the smaller grounds and like you're just standing on the tarmac, you know, pavement, like, and rather than sitting down in a seat in a stand, it was just strange, but like it was more fun. It made the day, like, as well, and
that's the interesting thing, isn't it? Really, it's about, you know, coming up. Well, you talked about it earlier on about different experiences, you know, not just kind of having that, because you've been and seen it in the Prem when you were younger, and you've got all the better grounds there, and now you've kind of sampled 3 different levels now in your lifetime, you know, and the lads have as well, you know, and that's what makes it. That's what does make it.
Absolutely. If you'd like to sponsor the Free Blue Boys podcast, you can get in touch via our social media platform or via our email address. Thanks very much. Now back to the podcast. And I suppose on the note of making it really, Jay, and this is going to be a bit of a tough question considering, you know, much like us, the number of years you've been supporting the Blues. What is your best or favourite Blues match of all time, and why?
Got 5 minutes.
Yeah,
We're going to have to roll the sponsor in now.
Yeah, it's got to be the Norwich game when we beat them on penalties to get promoted. Like, my dad was in a position where like he couldn't really take me because he was going like with these lads and stuff. I just remember just watching it on telly, like, and that was just one of the best experiences, like just watching us like finally like having a couple of seasons beforehand, just missing out, and then like actually making it. Like, I just remember like running up to the telly and I was like so happy. I was just crying. I was like, I can't believe it. Like, you know, we finally got promoted. it was just brilliant. Like, you know, and
fantastic.
What was your
that
about
one
10?
by far?
Then was just something like that. Yeah.
On my YouTube pictures that year, like.
Oh, is it?
That's me as a little boy, like.
I did think that. I did think that when I saw it. I thought, because I saw the shirt, I thought that's the season we got promoted at the playoff final.
Yeah.
So, and I suppose it makes sense, doesn't it? Really. I mean, I would have been about the same age as you, to be fair, Jay, as well. Dad, you actually went, didn't you, as well? You were at the playoff
I was
final.
there. Yeah, it was a bit of a weird thing for me. I was supposed to meet a mate from work. Actually, I couldn't find him anyway. He was coming from Portsmouth. But weirdly, I walked past a pub on the way towards the ground to have a drink, and somebody goes, "Oi, Eddie!" My fucking brother. I had no idea he was there, like, you know. And I think we spent the next few hours like getting ridiculously pissed, like, you know, and then did so again afterwards. So yeah, it was great. The atmosphere was brilliant. And did you get to Wembley to watch the Carling?
No, I didn't. So I was working away. I was actually working away. Yeah, but
we didn't.
Like a lot of people say to me, like, I even asked my dad this question, like, especially doing like all the YouTube stuff and all the comments you get, like the people you meet and stuff, you know, like doing this and that, and they always say, why do you prefer the Norwich game to the Carling Cup final? And I think it's because of that nostalgia as a kid.
Yeah. It is. It is.
I think it is. Like, I know that was a great day, obviously, to get a major trophy and that, but like, just just looking back, he's had a real good childhood, and I think that's one of the things why I love it so much. Like, and I asked my dad the same question, like, and even he said the same. He said, I'd prefer the Norwich playoff final to get in the cup.
I think a lot of times it's the memories attached to the games and the moments, and then you speak of it there, and it's the same for us. I mean, even last season, none of us have experienced a season like that. I know we were in League One and the money and all the rest of it. Yeah. But that's a similar thing as you say there, Joe. Like I mean, just you talking about it there, I myself was feeling like I'd love to go and experience that. Yeah. Just for us to, obviously, hopefully we'll do it in the next few seasons. I'd love to just, even if we do it in the playoff final and we did it there at Wembley, to experience that. It's the joys and sorrows in it, and that's And fuck me, we've had a lot of sorrow, so I'd love a few joys in there, really. So that'd be fantastic if we could. Yeah.
True. I think you're right, Joe. I think it's what you associate with stuff, isn't it? Really, like, and I think, I mean, one of my favourite Blues games, these two know, is a bit weird. I'm kind of a bit offbeat with some of these things, but the Millwall game for me, in the semi when Stern John scored. And I didn't go to that game, but I watched it. For once, they put this massive screen on at St Andrews, and I was there. And I think because I'd been through the Trevor Francis shit, and we'd had 3 years of failing, and all of a sudden I thought, okay, we've done it. We've actually won the semi-final. We're through. And it was like then I thought, we're going to win this. We're going to win it. And it's like that release, isn't it? Thinking we're going to get there. Yeah. So over the years, you've watched obviously quite a few Blues games, and this is a big question actually, but I'm sure you have somebody straight to mind. So, who's the best player you've seen at Blues, and who's your favourite player, you think?
Best player, I'd probably say. It's a tough question. Probably Christoph Dugarry again for that nostalgia. And my favourite player would be Robbie Savage, just because he was a wind-up merchant and he was getting stuck in and as a Bluenose, that's all you want, and he was the perfect candidate. Like in terms of this season, this is the kind of player you need. Someone like him. He was brilliant. Like I loved him. Like just played for the badge, getting stuck in, and he'd wind them up as well.
That was the best part.
So I'd say them too, to be honest.
Yeah, that makes sense. And they were part of that team, weren't they? They did so well during that period.
That was like the next step as well, wasn't it? Because we had Darren Carter and Stan Lazaridis, and then we kind of like again, like this season we had a good transfer window. It's the same when we started that second season. Then we started off with Christoph Dugarry and David Dunn and
good player he was.
Them kind of players,
Shame it never all
Matthew
came
Upson
together.
as well. I think he come in.
He did.
He come in as well, didn't he? Like, he was a great centre back. He was.
Kenny Cunningham as well.
Yeah, and Cunningham. Yeah.
He used class, but you never really even noticed him. Like, they were so good. But they were great players. It was a good period as well. And obviously Joe's favourite. Do you want to reveal yours?
MacArthur Sale, for sure. We only met him. Well, I met him. We've seen him before. Technically, I was 8 years old when we last met him first time. And we've seen him again about 3 weeks ago. Can't remember what game it was. I think it was a Saturday 3 o'clock. He came around and we all shook his hand and said hello and stuff. And he seemed like a good bloke, didn't he?
He came across really down to earth. It was one of them where sometimes you meet players and you feel like it's a bit of a handshake and they move on sort of thing. But you felt like you would have taken the time to talk to us, take his photos with us. He was some really chilled bloke, as it were. Just almost just like a normal guy, almost. And I suppose they all are in a sense, but you don't see him that way, do you? Particularly when you've got that nostalgia of growing up, seeing them as like idols, particularly in that team at that time. I mean, at the end of the day, I think if he'd kept fit, he probably would have been Champions League standard because he was that good on the day. The game that always sticks in my head when MacArthur Sale was against Leeds United at home. Just roll the ball over, flick it straight into the bottom corner. I mean, you think of the calibre of players on at the time as well, but given the opposition as well, because the season before Leeds were in the Champions League as well. So, but that's kind of like, much like for you, Jay, as well, that was like our core Blues memories growing up. And it's just great to see him about the club, isn't it, really, sort of thing. I mean, we only just sort of looked to his eyes, MacArthur Sale, and we just had Mick, and he came over, shook our hands, and he was just a lovely guy, great to meet him, really nice.
You talking about that goal there, Dan? Next question for you is, and there's an even longer list of these. I mean, I would say maybe the Stern John goal in Millwall, but your favourite Blues goal, and not necessarily because of, the way it was done, but maybe the memory attached to it, or something like that. There's a lot to choose from, but...
Favourite Blues goal? Probably say the Cameron Duran one. Was against Liverpool, was it?
Yeah.
Probably say that one.
Goal.
That was a cracking goal, that was.
Brilliant goal.
Probably say that one, to be fair.
It was a great goal, Was it 6-07?
I think it was. I was 6-07.
Did it end up in a draw that night? Was that the same night as the infamous David and Gog dive?
2-2, wasn't it?
Was that the same one?
I think it was a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw.
Yeah.
Although there is one more, and again, I think it's because of the memories, and it was when we was playing Man United at home. We lost 2-1 on Grange. Had done that free kick, and it was when Cristiano Ronaldo made his debut at Blues as well. Like,
Yes.
So like for all them memories and stuff, he made his debut. You had Alex Ferguson saying that, you know, that St Andrews is a right fortress, like, and it's one of them places where, like, you know, it's really hostile. And by the way, Bluesnose, you've got to get that back. You know,
yes,
absolutely.
That's a good shout, that, mate.
That's how I remembered it, like, as a kid. Like, even when we was losing, it was just a horrible, like, good for us, like, you know, like the atmosphere, but like teams hated going there because of how hostile it was.
They did.
You know, and we need that back. Like,
we do. There hasn't been a lot of that actually this year. Has there really?
We have it in moments, don't we? It was there quite a lot last season. And like you said, the FA Cup game. It's the big games, and a lot of teams do it. A lot of clubs do it, where the fans show up, they fill it out, and it's hostile, as you say there, Jay. But you're not wrong. We need that, and we need it big time next season. You know, with what United have obviously got, they've had in mind for this season. Don't look like it's going to happen, but for next season, they'll want to pack it out, sell as many season tickets as they're allowed to. But I agree with you. Listen, every single time we make it like that at Blues, we're almost impossible to defeat.
Well, how many times has Tom Magnus said it? Like in the there's that game where like he had a lot of stick on social media, but mate, like I rate him. Like, and he's right. You know, he's right at the end of the day. And like, I mean, I can't go. I'm not in a fortunate enough position to go home and away every game because of work and stuff. And sometimes financially, you know, like, things have gone up and that, you know, and
it's a lot now. It
is.
But I'll tell you when I'm there, like, you know, I try and give it my all, like verbally, and like to try and like, you know, sing and just try and bring those times back. Do you know what I mean? But like,
it's
sometimes you don't want like, does it? Like, you know,
you do it in your podcast. I think it comes across like that you've got very high level of passion for Blues. There's no doubt about that. You know,
absolutely.
That is what you do. You display it every time you come on. It's very clear, mate. So whether you're at the game or whether you're not, it don't matter. You're getting the Blues fans interested, and you want them to be full on, and that's exactly how it should be. So you're right, like you say, mate.
Oh, thanks, Andy.
Got to bring the passion, and that's what it's about. But I suppose really off the back of the passion, Jay, have you ever just had a moment where, considering all the journey on that you've been on, the joys and sorrows, much like ourselves, has there ever been a moment where you've sat there and you've just gone, why do I do this to myself? Why do I support the Blues?
The laugh tells you many.
Probably, probably when we was just like having that period where like we had the Carson Young era and stuff, and it was just like that would only ever happen to Birmingham City. Do you know what I mean?
It couldn't happen to any club. It could only happen to us.
Wouldn't happen to anybody else. You know what I mean? And, and then we had a BSHL as well in that era, and it's just the same again. And now we've got this brilliant down there, Tom Wagner, like, and I hope he's all right as well. And I'm sure he's in the best hands, and you know, like, he's an absolute godsend. He's something else, like, and for him to put a smile on my dad's face and all the sorrows he's had over the years, and you know, he'd say something like so. Get well soon, Tom.
Yeah, we all
from us, Tom as well. Yeah,
like I say, he's come in and completely changed the club around. You know? I mean, despite what anybody thinks about this season, opinions on the manager and where we finished and all the rest of it, whether it's been a success or failure, what they've come in and done for this club with, you know, all the stuff that we're wearing, you know, the match day experience itself, and I don't think people talk about that enough, at least from what I see. It's wonderful, and like you say, like you talk a bit about what it's like at St Andrews, Jay, when everyone's there. The match day experience is part of that, you know. There's good service, you know, you got good stuff in the shop. It's a good vibe. I mean, I remember the Ipswich game at the start of the season. That was unbelievable.
It was unreal, wasn't it?
That first 10 minutes was just
just amazing, wasn't it? And when the goal went in, you felt, and even the commentators mentioned it on Sky Sports about the decibels going up. It's a club transformed, and Tom Wagner and United are the main driving force behind that. Like you say, Jay, it's just a world apart from the ownership we've had before. It's the owner we've always wanted, and I think, given the history of the club and the city as well, the second largest city in the country, this is the owner we deserve and the club we need to have. And you're just so proud of all the powerhouse and everything that's going to come with it. People just need to understand that the long-term objective is that, but it will come, and we just need to be patient, and we just need to stay behind the club, and we all want what's best. And at the moment there's a lot of conflicting opinions around that, which we'll get into shortly, but it's going to happen. I do believe it's going to happen, because this is the best. Certainly for as long as I've been a Blues fan, and certainly a lot more for your dad and my old man. This is the best it's ever been.
Oh yeah, definitely, by far,
no question. Do you like the powerhouse? Do you? Do you like the design?
Well, I was fortunate enough, because me and my dad was laughing, because obviously doing the YouTube thing and that, I had Blues reach out to me, like I've never been invited to anything like that. So I was like overwhelmed. I was like typical, like, oh, is this a scam or something? And like, I was like,
Yeah.
I remember ringing my dad, like, and I was like, Dad, you got to look at this. And he was like, what? Well, like, they gave me a +1, and it meant the world to me because I got to take my dad, like, my best mate, like, and that Blues, I can't thank you enough for that, because that was something else. And I was just really just watching him, like more so, and you could just see, like, he was like filling up at times, like, and he was just kind of looking at us, I was just getting to you, and he was like, cause I've never seen it before, like, and like, he was just fantastic. He was just unbelievable. Like, I remember, like, when the stadium come on, and it was like all the countdown and stuff, and he'd come on, and I was like, ooh, I ain't sure about that. And then when you start walking around and stuff, and you start like seeing, because Tom Wagner, like, one of his things, he said he wants it to be authentic, and you know, you're not going to see a stadium that's so authentic and shows the history and the culture of a club than that one. And like, when you start walking around, you see all the bricks and all the trades, like 100 trades and all that, like, and what's going into it, like, then keep like kind of like turning, and I thought, well, actually, like, I get it, like, I understand. And it was just brilliant, like, absolutely fantastic, like.
I think you reacted a bit like we did. We thought, you know, to begin with, not too sure for the first minute or two, but then when, as you say, when you read into kind of what the history is behind it, like, you know, and we've talked about this on air, it's a bit like, you know, and you and your dad and your family, we come from working class backgrounds. You know, my dad and my granddad and my brother, for that matter, they've all worked in industrial areas and stuff like that. You know, it's all about Birmingham as a city.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what I love about it. You know, they've actually taken the time to think about that and bring it into what we're doing.
I think just on the more basic as well, it's bold, isn't it? You know, there's nothing really like it at all. There's lots of bowls in it these days. I know people talk about it, but and it will split opinion because of the fact that it is so bold and it is so out there. But listen, when it's built, I think we're going to absolutely fall in love with it. I really do. I mean, it's, you know, we're talking, what, 4 or 5 years, aren't we? So hopefully by that time we're playing Premier League football. Got a lot of work to do then. Before then, that's it as well. So,
that's exactly it.
But, obviously, having to think about that in the journey to get into the Premier League. How do you think we've done this season? Your expectations? You feel like, because some fans before the season were saying, like, and maybe ourselves, top 10? Or do you want to go up? Do we think just settle ourselves? What do you think? Success?
Well, you can look at this from so many angles, and I've always been a realist. Like, so to break it down, we've got decent owners, we've got a manager. Like, we seem to have a bit of stability now, which is good. Which we've never had that, like, for how long? Like, swapping and changing managers. I know that it's been a bit ropey at the minute and stuff, but we'll get into that later on, like you said. But you can look at it as, at the minute, we're like in a better position than we ever have been in the Championship for like how many years, you know, like flaunting around the bottom 3, 17, 18 and 19, so you could look at it like that way. Or I'm one of these where, like, you know, like I watch stuff and I read stuff, like I love like reading stuff, I love watching stuff, so all the open houses. So you've got Tom Wagner and United, they've invested so much to help Chris Davies, to help bolster the squad. And he even said himself, like, word for word, you know, we won't be short of the competition for how long, and like, we're not there, are we? So like, it's kind of like a failure, isn't it? Like, we've spent like 60 million. So like, if they want to get there, it's a failure, isn't it, really? Because we're not there, are we? So like, I'd expect a top 10 finish, but when you've got somebody, and this is not a dig at Tom Wagner, 'cause I love him to bits, like, but he's openly said that they want to compete and we're not there. So like, you've got this mixture of, it's all right, people saying, oh, Chris Davies out, or like Chris Davies in, you're going to get like a lot of different opinions, but we're not where the owners have openly said where we need to be. We're not there, are we? So
no. And I think I was listening to something today where another podcast, and they were talking about how the January transfer window changed people's perceptions or what their desires for the season were, because that amount of money during a period when most teams don't spend much, and the quality of what we brought in, you're talking about bringing in a bloke who scored against Real Madrid this season and scored 9 other times in La Liga, amongst all the others as well. And you think I think what's changed people's minds a little bit is where that was a clear statement, wasn't it, that they wanted to go for the top 6, because they wouldn't have come up with that money unless they thought that's what we're going to do. And I think that's what has made people a bit arsy about the situation. You know? And
that's what they said. He openly said that. Tom Wagner openly said that I'm not worried about it, and we're going to be competing towards the end, and we ain't there, are we? We're nowhere near it. Like in terms of on the pitch, I mean, the ambition's brilliant. Like, and again, I love him to bits. It's fantastic, but in terms of how we played, I mean, that Derby game was absolutely disgraceful. Like, that was the worst game of the season by far for me. That was awful. That was crap.
I think you're right about that, actually.
Well, the reactions online said it all, didn't it? You know, it was our post-match absolutely blew up, which got us to 1,000 subscribers. So thank you to everybody that has subscribed.
Huge thank you to everybody. Fantastic. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Amazing support for that. But yeah, literally everybody online who posted about it, a vlog or a post-match or whatever, it blew up. And you're right, Jay, like it was the absolute worst it's been. And I think Chris Davis was only there for a brief time, and the fans were giving him shit, you know, as you'd expect. It's football fans at the end of the day, but they pay their money to be there and they're voicing their opinion, and that's what we all do.
How's it going, fellow Blues fans? Hope you're enjoying the channel so far and liking today's video. I wanted to take a minute of your time to talk about our sponsor, Bangla Lounge Indian Cuisine. For these three Blue boys, Bangla Lounge has been the go-to choice to enjoy the very finest in Indian cuisine for over a decade now. Made with the freshest ingredients using authentic recipes, Bangla Lounge produces some of the best Indian cuisine that I've ever tasted. And if you enjoy takeaway at the end of the week, orders for collection and delivery with 15% discount, ordering direct through the website. If you enjoy a sit-down meal, you can enjoy this for a 2-for-1 offer, running up for Sunday to Thursday every week on main courses. Or if you're celebrating a special occasion, such as a birthday, Bangla Lounge offers a buffet restaurant every Sunday, running from 5:30pm to 10pm. So if you like a tasty curry or a sizzling tandoori, get yourself down to Bangla Lounge Hell's Owen. Links in the description below of our video. And if you would like to fine dine after a win in the B9. Thanks very much. Now back to the podcast.
But it's one of those things where I've seen a few people say online is that in the event that maybe we weren't into the top 10 for the end of the season, there's only a few points gap between us and, 17th, 18th. If we were to finish 17th or 18th, you've got to look at that on paper and say, well, have we really improved that much with all the money, all the transfers we've made in the summer and in January? What is different from when John Eustace left this club? That's the big question I've got, and there has to be a question for me over the summer of, United have got to really show us next season, of all the good stuff. And don't get me wrong, like you say, Jay, as well, we love the man, we wish him well, and everything they've put into the club. What matters for me is on the pitch and us moving forward and getting into the Premier League. And questions have to be asked if Chris Davis was to remain and we were, not going to invest a bit more in the squad and adapt. And we've talked about this a lot on here, haven't we? And that it's very much plan A. I think a lot of people see it the same way we do. And we've got to see changes, whether that be before the end of the season or not, or in the summer. Time will tell. But I think you are right.
You mentioned plan A, but like he did have a plan B against Derby because he did change the formation.
He did, that's true. He did.
So he did have a plan B, but it didn't work. So either it didn't work or they just were half-arsed because, it's like to be a Blue Nose yourself, Andy. All we want is a bit of fight. It doesn't matter, if we lose, we just want them getting stuck in. Yeah. Like we mentioned, your Robbie Savage, he's just stirring it up a little bit. There was none of that, no tackles. There was losing the ball. They weren't even asked to run after it. It's like you just lost the ball, run after it.
It looked.
It's your job.
It kind of stunk a little bit of somehow them switching off.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the reason for that is, whether it's like we're on the beach, or maybe they don't believe what the manager asked them to do, or maybe just some of them are the wrong kind of characters. Who knows? We're not privy to that, are we?
No.
But you are right. At the heart of it, if they can't be asked, Al's here as an Albion fan at the moment. They were very vocal at Oxford about the lack of effort from their team.
Yeah.
And they've turned it round.
Yeah.
By just to begin with, just getting stuck in and showing what it's all about. So you're spot on.
Yeah, definitely. That's all we want. I mean, you've been, how many times you've been to the Blues where, a player are going for a tackle, and I always look round, because I get the feels, I get the goosebumps, and again, that's why we need to bring it back, the atmosphere, that hostility. Yeah. But, when players going for a tackle, and that means a lot to a Blue Nose.
Yeah.
And they're clapping, they're like, yes, go on, that's all we want.
Yeah.
That's all we want, but it's how we're losing, and it ain't good enough. And this away dross, I don't know what it is, it's been the same all season. We've had
it has.
3 transfer windows, and it's just been, it's just been awful, all season away from home. And then people are like, well, you got people moaning stuff, but at the end of the day, they're going away, it ain't cheap. You're talking 100 quid before you even get to the game, so that's 100 quid.
Yeah.
And this is per person.
Yeah.
Your travel, your food, your tickets.
A lot of commitments.
A lot of money. I'm not going to understand why people get annoyed. And when you come across the Derby game and you start losing your away fans, that's usually the points where you've kind of blew it. I mean, I don't know. That's how it come across to me, like watching it, like, you know.
I think that's how it is. I mean, we've been to some away games this season. We were at Charlton, weren't we?
We were at Charlton, yeah.
And that got toxic. Like, towards the end, like, you know, some boos. I mean, we're not the kind of boo people at the stadium and stuff. We've got opinions, but I wouldn't do it at the game ever. But people were upset, you know, and it got worse really after that. You know, you can't beat 10 men, then you lose without any effort, and you start thinking, where's this going really? Like, you know, where's the headspace with the players?
I think with the players or the manager, there's been 3 key points where we've just not learned. Watford away was a bad one. It was only after that when we went on a run where he's arguably kept his job because we went 10 unbeaten, something like that. Obviously beat Cov, didn't we? 3-2 at home after that. And then after that, I think the other one has got to be the Derby one. Because that's, you know, the reaction online, and as you say there, Jay, like, there's no effort. And like you say as well, Dad, I think there's a mentality there. The players have clocked out. They know they're in the void now. They ain't going down, they ain't going up, and that's it. But this is it. Like, the thing is, you know, we go away to these games, a lot of Blues fans, and we always sell out, and we have all season. And it's a separate question as to why it's been happening since the start. But when we've actually needed to put the fight in for games where we're still in the mix, they haven't turned up. Like players, you know, not to call anybody out, but there's players in midfield where I'm thinking at home, you're everywhere, you're battling, you put your foot in, the crowd are up, then you're away and it's gone. You've left it on the fucking coach because I don't know where it is. We don't see it. And that's what we want, particularly going into next season. We want players that are going to fight for the badge. You know, it reminds me like Michael Kiftembeld. You know, he was not, you know, you mentioned obviously earlier, Joe, Robbie Savage, players like that, going to fight for the badge. That's what we want.
That's all you need.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, on that basis, the only one I've really seen recently and has continually done it throughout the season is Christoph Clara. And interestingly enough, Jay, if you watched his post-match after the Derby game, he alluded to the fact that the story of our season seems to be that we seem to lack effort or any sort of foothold of the game away from home. So clearly the players are aware of what's going on or what is happening. So how aware is Chris Davis of this? Is he starting to lose the dressing room, or has he even already lost it? Because you look at some of the players that have left this season, Mark Leonard, Lyndon Dykes, Keshi Anderson, particularly in the lights of Keshi Anderson, how vocal he was in his first interview at Portsmouth about being not able to celebrate being promoted properly last season. Lyndon Dykes, his reaction after the win at Charlton, for Charlton. You'd think to yourself, okay, if there's one player here and there, you'd think, okay, there's always going to be a potentially little sour as somebody leaves the club. But it's 3 players. And you're starting to see a little bit. I mean, I don't know if you noticed or anybody had mentioned that at the Sheffield United home game, because he'd been booked and he'd arguably been to blame for the penalty we conceded against Sheffield United. Who was it, the Sheffield United game? Jack Robertson did not join the substitutes on the bench after. It begs the question, how much control has Davis got of the dressing room anymore? And fundamentally, if that's where you're going to be trying to build a team from with this philosophy that Davis has got, whether that's fed down from Knighthead to him, I don't know. It's arguably just Davis now because of the way the season's gone. Is it an argument to say that we can carry on like this? In your opinion, Jay, do we need a change in manager now?
Well, I was on about this to my dad, like, and he come round because my daughter's birthday the weekend, like she was 8, and he came around and dropped a present off and we was talking about the Derby game. And putting the kettle on, he said to me, how do you feel about Derby? And I said, Dad, I hate to predict Blues to lose and I hate being negative, but I think we're going to lose. And he said to me, like, he looked at me, he went, yeah, I think we are. And he found me after the game, he said, we was right with me. I said, yeah. And like, I asked him the question, like, I mean, we've been Davising all through and through, like, up until this point with Derby, and he was just like, I think it was a little bit of the final straw, like, in terms of how we lost, because I said, you know, it's how we lose him, what's annoying as well, like, that's what annoys me. And I asked him the question, like, and he said, oh yeah, like, he came across that, like, he does seem like he's losing the dressing room, and I agree. Going off that Derby game, definitely, 100%.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because, I mean, we could all ask ourselves here, in fact, we can now, you know, what, if he stays, let's make that assumption, let's say United back him, give him another chance, what has he got to do, in your opinion, to get us more switched on next season, to get us in, ideally the top 2, but at least the top 8? What would he have to do different?
That's a really hard question.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
It's quite an expansive question, isn't it, really?
I don't even know the answer to that one, because, like, he's had all the backing, he's had all the transfer windows, and I believe that the transfer windows have got better. I mean, we've only seen it like at Coventry, like, we absolutely blasted him, you know, like the favourites top of the league, you know. We can do it. So it's just the inconsistency. Like, and it's not nowhere near as bad, but it just reminds me of that season before we went down when we had that squad that was just uninterested. We had like X amount of managers. We got Tom Wagner coming in. Like, there's all that ambition that we've still got, like getting excited and then being let down on the pitch. Kind of reminds me of that. Like, but we nowhere near as bad. It's just that feeling. Like, do you know what I mean?
I do know. It's interesting you mentioned like the excuse me, the Coventry game, because this might be a pointer as to maybe what we would collectively expect next season if he does stay. I and some other people feel like there's a bit of a coaching out of certain skill sets of certain players, and the reason I'm in the Coventry game was because Kyle Wagner was electric that game.
Brilliant!
Absolutely superb. Like, you know, and he looked like the player that we thought we'd sign from the MLS, like, you know, the assist king and all that stuff. After about 3 games, I never saw him cross another ball.
No, he didn't.
No.
And is that part of the problem, do we think? I mean, this is an open question for all of us. Do we think that the system has taken over so much that individual abilities have been taken
We've talked
out?
about this, and, you know, people go online into one extreme or the other and say he's a Southgate coach and all the rest of it. I'm not really on that side of it, but I do think overall, systematically, we're just inept, basically, because we've shown it throughout the whole season. Even when we beat Oxford at home 1-0, we had a lot of shots there. We failed to hit the target many times. There's been lots of 0-0s and 1-1s where games are, we should have done it, like Albion. Yes, okay, they were backs against the wall, but we should have beat them. Should have beat Southampton. Should have beat Derby at home.
Charlton.
It's too inconsistent, and for me, that's a deeper rooted problem. It's not just, you hit the bar too many times, or you not hit the target enough times, or whatever it be. The data backs it up, and we talked about it obviously in the post match for the Derby game, and you can't do that over a 46-game season and 39 games now. And you have to look at that and say, and we were talking about last season earlier. Yes, it was a record points and we'll never forget it, and it's something we always have to look back and think that was absolutely amazing. But just to take a little piece from last season, how many games did we win by 1 goal where we should have put teams to the sword way more? We had the quality to do it. I feel like we've got the quality now. For me, there's somebody who can come in who can steer us in the right direction and get the best out of the players. You talk about Vicente there, Dad. In the league, one of the best wingers there, getting goals up until he joined us. He's another one like Kyle Wagner. He came and he looked electric. And now we don't take any men on. Put no crosses in, there's no shots.
I know what you're saying, about last season, but for me, I ain't bothered how many goals I scored. I just want the 3 points. You know what I mean?
I agree. The 3 points.
I totally understand what you're saying.
But
for me, I just want the 3 points, and that's what it's about. Getting the 3 points. It's a point-scoring game.
Yeah, I agree.
But the only one for me is, how can you be so brilliant at home? Not so much recently, but we've had a good spell at home, pretty much all season. How can you be that good and then just complete dross away from home? Which every game, it's every single game. I mean, that Norwich game, we was brilliant first half, and then second half it was just back to the old way. I mean, how we won that game, I don't know, but it was just.
It's almost gotten worse than that now, because it seems to have spilled over into home form now. Because we get to the point now where, and I don't know where you've seen this, Jay, is where we're in front. And you think, well, push on here, get another goal, get a third, and we don't. We revert back to ourselves. We allow the opposition to put pressure onto us. And it's like, why are we doing this for? We're better than this. We played better than this in the past. I mean, I still maintain to this day that Coventry at home was our best game all season. We diversified our approach. We were more aggressive. We were first to the second ball. And like you say, Dad, particularly with lots of Kai Wagner, every bit of promise we had from him coming from the MLS as a assist king was delivered in that game. But then we've seen it so many times before. I think particularly on your phone in jail, on your live stream, Tony always talks about the individuality of players being taken away by Davis. And he's absolutely spot on with that. You almost didn't want to believe it at first, but when you see it now in action, you see it and it's there for all to see. And you really do struggle to see where that is going to change under his leadership. I mean, I've given a shout out to Scott Parker when we were on your live stream the other day when we commented, and a few people did agree with that. And it's funny how it feeds into what you were saying there. You just want the 3 points. Look at the way Parker got Burnley promoted to the Premier League. It was 1-0s. It wasn't winning by big margin. It was just getting the points on the board, and that's what matters, particularly when you've got the ambition that the likes of TW and Knighthead got for the club. That's what needs to be happening.
But you made an interesting point there, just quickly if I may, about in terms of when we go on a goal up on that, and then we kind of slacking. Last season, we was playing a lot more teams that were direct. This season, we're playing a lot of teams that are playing the same way, so we have to keep going.
Yeah.
We do.
We can't afford to
You can't
keep,
drop off.
No, we can't drop off
No.
because they're playing the same style like half the time.
You
We
can't do it. And this is what was so disappointing about the Middlesbrough
end-to-end
game.
stuff, you can't. You got to keep going when you score a goal.
Yeah,
But
they're more lethal in this league.
Yeah,
though.
definitely.
Last season,
Yeah, they're
get away with
punishing
it.
like.
How many chances, like you're saying, you're right there, Jay. Like they punish you now, and how many
they punish
times
you.
quick breaks, they're on us, bang goal. Like it's like the Sheffield United game. They were nowhere near, not even in a sniff. I know Beadle saved a penalty before that, but that came out of nothing.
Yeah.
It's a long ball over the top, and Bamford's got the quality. And in League One, you don't get that quality.
No.
That's why we get hurt in this league and that's why I'm talking about taking our chances and not scoring enough goals. Because if we do and we push on, we're well ahead of teams, and they can't catch us then. But listen, if it's 1-0, and we would have done it last season, but this season can't do it. And that's why we've had too many draws at home. And, you know, obviously the home form is pretty much what's kept us together and where we are. But even that, since November, since I think we beat Watford maybe or something like that, it's dipped off, like you're saying. We've had too many draws.
Yeah. I think one of the other things that struck me, and I don't know whether you've kind of had a chat about this on your pod, Jay, and people have come up with this, is I feel like the recruitment underestimated the physicality of the Championship. So we got a bunch of people in who were good technically, you know, but I think maybe they thought, we're going up another level, so there'll be a lot more football. There won't be so much kind of aerial stuff going on, like, you know, and we'll be able to kind of just walk our way around people, you know, break the press and go into transition or whatever. We've underestimated it badly. Look at Cov. Cov have got some good football players, but they've got some beasts in that team. Yeah. And that's how they've done it. Now, Middlesbrough are probably the outliers because they can actually play football. They're a decent team. But most of the others have just got big athletes playing for them. And I feel like up until recently, we didn't address it. We didn't deal with it.
I'm not sure on this AI stuff, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I mean, some of the players we brought, like, I've never heard of them, but like, I mean, they do seem, I mean, you watch stuff, Blues are really good at like sharing like their
the good stuff.
Yeah, not the previous stuff that they've done, and then it just seems when they come to Blues, it just
get Blues.
just gets to the bottom. Whether that's down to the setup and stuff, the tactics, the training, God knows. But this may be like an unpopular opinion, and I want to ask you guys as well, like about Craig Gardner. Now, for me, like, I loved him at Blues as a footballer. If it weren't for Craig Gardner, there'd be now Tom Wagner. So like, I love the fact that he asked him 7 or 8 times to convince Tom to come. So that was class. But you know yourself in a certain like profession, because you're going to recruitment now. It's not a job that you can just learn overnight, is it?
No.
So he's been a footballer for like X amount of years. Just like me going to plastering, being an electrician. Like, I ain't going to learn it like in the space of a few years. You need people there that know what they're doing. Like, do you know what I mean? And I think that's one for me as well. Like,
It is.
as much as I love Craig, like, I just we need people that.
It's like there's no time to be sentimental too much about it, because now it's the future of the club. And you're right, Jay. You know, he had his playing time, and we love him to bits.
Definitely.
We only seen him about a month ago, didn't we?
You need people that are trained and that know the system, not somebody just trying to just change a job role to just try and. Do you know what I mean?
It's a really good observation, that is, actually.
It's in the real world. It's like me being a plasterer. Being an electrician. So I ain't going to learn it in a couple of years. It takes years. You get to college, you study. You know, it's.
You need the experience.
You need the experience. You know, you need to be able to do it when you leave school and like just work in it.
You're exactly right. Exactly right. It's a bit like people who expect great players to be great managers. They know football, don't they? I mean, we've had the worst example. We've had the worst example of it at Blues, like, you know, in the last couple of years. But you are spot on. Absolutely.
I mean, I get it. Like, you know, he wants to change Blues, and like, again, as a Blue Nose, I can't fault him. Like, I rate him, but you need people in that department that know what they're doing in terms of like.
You do.
Their expertise, you know, and that's like maybe that's an issue. I don't know. I mean,
there's been a lot of noise about that.
Like, I don't know.
I think you're right, Jane. You would have seen it online as well. Lots of people. It's like lots of questions about Davis and the system, and even United maybe here or there, but no one's really saying too much about Craig Gardner. And you're right, like, it's not really something you can learn on the job. You know, he knows football, but as a footballer. Not as a recruiter, about players, about who fits what and how we want to play. Listen, I love the bloke. And
different departments.
This is it. I think he's done a great job, and it looked that way particularly last season. And listen, the quality we brought in last season, there's a reason we absolutely pissed the league, because no one could touch us. But this season, it's a bit more delicate. Is there that question there? I don't know. don't know whether they're going to chop and change it.
It's difficult to say, isn't it, really? Like you say, we absolutely love the bloke for his service to the club.
Yeah.
Proper Bluesnose, as some members of his family are. But it's a different kettle of fish entirely. I mean, take an example of one of our neighbours, West Bromwich Albion. They've changed their director of football because they've realised that the recruitment hasn't been good enough, not only for the coaching staff, but the players. And things are just starting to turn for them now, and they're playing better, and they're playing their way out of it, which is great to see. Because I always like to see the other Midlands clubs doing well. I mean, other than the obvious one, really. So, I mean, they can stay where they are, to be honest, with you in some ways. But there you go. But like you say, there's got to be a differentiation made between the player and the director of football and how we carry it going forward, and considering the level of ambition of the club. But ultimately, it remains to be seen as we journey on for the joys and sorrows, as the famous old song goes. But it's a difficult one, and one that we invite all of our viewers and listeners to make a comment on in the comments section. But Jay, how have you felt? Have you enjoyed it here on the Three Blue Boys?
Oh, it's been brilliant. Yeah,
Pleasure to have you on, mate.
Thanks for having me on.
Hey, welcome, mate. Pleasure to have you on, mate.
It.
Absolutely, it's been absolutely fantastic. And if you haven't done so already, please check out Jay's channel, The Boy in Blue. Subscribe, like. Make sure you check out his live streams as well. Make sure you say hello to him. You see him at the games as well. Absolutely cracking bloke. Loved him having here. Gentlemen, we'll be back next week as well with our preview for the Blackburn Rovers game on the Easter Friday.
The Peaky Blinders game.
The Peaky Blinders
game.
Caps and horses.
Absolutely. We'll all be there. Yeah. Blues fans, as always, like if you enjoyed today's video, comment down in the section on what you felt, your opinion on what we discussed today on today's episode. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and follow us on our social media platforms, links to which on the screen for now and down in the description below. But until next time, fellow Blue Noses, stay true to the royal blue and keep right on.
Keep right on.
Keep right on.